Top 25 prospects of the decade. This is part 3. This is going to be a smaller part because I accidentally did 6 in the last episode, so we're getting back on track with 14 through 11, I believe. So let's get into it. Part 1 and 2 will be linked somewhere, either top right or description. If you want previews and exclusive content or voting powers, again, subbing to my Patreon would be the way to go, and that would be amazing, and I'd be forever grateful. If not, just a like and a comment and a subscribe is also amazing, and watch till the end for the second to last guy is honestly probably the most interesting, but staying to the end for the algorithm is always appreciated. Number 14, Amen Thompson, who I've talked about a ton on my channel, so we're just going to use this as a chance to go over his summer league, his one summer league game that I was at, which was freaking awesome, and talk about his ceiling and what makes him such an incredible prospect. The burst and explosion is obviously special, and for some reason in summer league he only shot left-handed layups. It's like he was just trying them out just for fun. He's a righty, and I would say he definitely shoots more righty layups than lefty, but incredible burst. You see, the shooting is a problem and is going to need to improve, but even when defenders give him feet of space, Amen's best burst of all time, maybe, I don't know, allows him to get by whoever he wants. This is such a ridiculous play, even though he misses. Only Amen, one of the wildest athletes ever, would jump from outside of the paint, jump around a big man, and get basically wide open on the way down. That's a pretty tough shot, coming down, but this is basketball players don't do this. This is not something that humans are supposed to be able to do, just sit in the air for that long. His passing is also wonderful. Of course, that's part of what makes him an elite prospect. Love seeing him attack into the paint, hit a little whip pass down low to Jabari Smith. Nothing crazy, but the pick and roll game and maturity is so good. He is truly a 6'7" point guard. The pacing is so amazing. Obviously, his speed allows him to cut into the paint and to draw help really easily, but look how he goes slow a little bit here. Waits until his roll man gets out in front before making a pass over top. And unfortunately, J Huff was not having a great summer league. At least this game wasn't great for him. But regardless, we see Amen's passing his hand out. Oh, I forgot he had this one too. 2 passes in one play. We see Amen's hustle, the offensive rebound, the live dribble, scramble, passing vision, beautiful offhand delivery. That's 2 blown assists in one possession. I believe, this was a weird little floater. That is not part of Amen's game. This is not a thing that he does ever. And I frankly have no idea why he took the shot, except for proving my theory that he was just out there doing shit, which I really appreciate for someone as talented as him. But this would be a cool shot. I mean, just this intermediate game is going to be a big add for him, because it's very much at the rim scoring at the moment for him. So any intermediate additions would be great. There could definitely be some issues early in his career with defenses playing off of him and being struggling to get all the way to the rim. His handle isn't great. That's one of the main offensive weaknesses. So he sometimes will pick up the ball too early or get stuck in traffic. And all these things could be limiting factors. But the athletic tools are beyond special. The passing is beyond special. And even if you look at the play that he got hurt on, he's standing straight. He's just standing and jumps straight up and blocks a center. A 7-foot center from a standstill. He is one of the most special vertical athletes of all time for size and build. The ceiling is obviously with the men. We don't know. This is, spoiler alert, Amen will not be the first prospect from the 2023 draft to make this list. So we have no idea what his career will look like, but he certainly has the makings of a very special prospect. Number 13, this is actually the one I'm most excited about, is Lamelo Ball. And I'll probably do a long form one on Lamelo, because he's one of my favorite prospects and players of all time. But we can go back to freshman year, 14-year-old Chino Hills Lamelo, when he was barely 6 feet, might not have even been 6 feet, and was pulling up from NBA 3-point line, playing with Lonzo and Leandro on the best high school team in the country. He could attack a closeout, get into the rim, and use his touch to finish over much bigger, stronger, taller, and older defenders. And obviously the passing was great too. But Lamelo took the ascension to prospect stardom his senior year at Spire, where I remember when I was scouting this 2019 high school class, and I didn't know if Lamelo was actually good or just a hype machine prospect. And this is the first Lamelo like prospect game I watched, and I was like, holy shit, he's good. I still can't believe he tried this pass. Lamelo is obviously one of the wildest passers ever. No one has like the vision and the balls to like look off to this guy to try like the tightest window whip pass right past the defender's arm for a layup. Nope, nobody does that. The pick and roll pacing was obviously incredible. Such an incredible ball handler, so tight on a string, able to use pace and hesitations to get into the paint. Finish with his incredible touch, and I always believed in the jumper, which was something that I definitely think was a good take, even though it was very wonky at a time. His like lower body was a mess. The arms flared out like crazy, but the deep range and the touch was always there, along with the volume and the confidence, which was what I believed in. And even we can see in the NBL in Australia, he cleaned that up. Lamelo's feet here look much better, much cleaner. There isn't nearly as much lower body movement. The elbow is in tighter, and the shot has progressed quickly. And obviously, he's an elite shooter now in year 3 or whatever he's in. Obviously, Lamelo, the special passing always showed. This is one of my favorite prospect plays in a minute. Oh my god, just what a ridiculously creative and delivery with crazy ingenuity. I couldn't think of the other word for that. But Lamelo is someone who I want to do a full video on at some point, because he's fascinating in terms of like development and his trajectory. But he was my number 1 prospect in the 2020 draft, and I still feel good about that. The combination of shooting, passing, handling, and even like some defensive upside with his smarts and size are incredible. And I still think he has a chance to be a legit primary on a very good team. I think he's already on his way there and is criminally underrated at this point. But that's Lamelo at number 13. Number 12, which, again, the exact order of this list doesn't really matter. Like, these guys are all so close in this range, is Trey Young, who possibly most known for a couple things. His pick and roll passing was absolutely incredible, and was someone who would just pull up from 3 with no conscience. Is a really all-time elite shooting prospect with shot versatility, was able to shoot off movement, off platform, pull up threes from crazy deep. The volume was amazing free throw shooter, all of the best, 3-point indicators you can ask for, and obviously that has, worked out very well. The burst and touch also made him a ridiculous interior scorer. Look at that lefty, like offhand, beautiful floater with crazy touch. That looks like he's left-handed. Trey is always going to be limited because of his size. We can see again, even with good burst, sometimes like he just can't separate from guys, and the stuff at the rim is always going to be an issue for him, and that was always projectable. But the touch was just incredible. So good at putting defenders in jail, using pace and hesitations to find his floater game. Obviously, the passing was amazing as well. Like, he had primary initiator level pull-up shooting, pick and roll game, passing game, and despite being a small guard, which is just a really hard archetype to value a ton, Trey really looked special in college. Look at him hold up and draw this help defender in with a little dribble back before lobbing it up to this guy. I have a whole video on Trey's passing that you should go watch. That's interactive. I think it's very fun. This is etched into my brain forever. This unbelievable lefty skip pass on a dime. One of my favorite passes of all time, and I remember like exactly where it was when I was watching it. The vision all over the floor. His ability to like hunt layup passes and good shots overall. Incredible passer. Not only like the interior, but also great reading tags and hitting skip passes out to the perimeter when help defenses crash too hard on interior players. Trey's passing was special. I mean, there wasn't a pass he couldn't make. His deliveries, his vision, his timing, all of it is some of the most special we've seen. Obviously, the defense was rough. It's hard to project small guards to be good defenders, especially without great strength or physical tools, and especially when they were so bad in college, especially. And Trey, of course, is not a good defender in the NBA. But I think he's kind of hit an outcome that a lot of people expected. Trey is a legit primary initiator, someone who can lead an offense to the playoffs, and potentially I think can be a guy who can lead playoff offenses in the right context. Obviously, there's still room for him to grow, and he's still young, but prospect Trey was about as ridiculous a combination of on-ball shooting and passing as you're going to find. And that alone is valuable enough to make you one of like the top prospects of the last 10 years. He was really special. Number 11, the last guy of this video, we have Ben Simmons, another one who I have a video on, so I'm not going to go super in depth. Ben, even before all of the Philly nonsense and such, was an incredible player and an incredible prospect. Was definitely, I think, the top prospect in that 2016 draft, even though Ingram is very good and was on this list earlier, if you've seen the videos already. He's probably the fastest 6'10 dude I've ever seen. Like, this looks like prime LeBron, except 2 more inches. There are no athletes this tall who move like this with the ball. There just aren't. Ben was able to weaponize this like vertical and horizontal athleticism in transition more than maybe any player that I can remember as like a giant ball handler. And while the shooting was like grim, it wasn't as bad as like worst shooter of all time. Like, he was willing to like step into mid ranges, take wide open threes very occasionally. Of course, the passing was fantastic, but if we look at Ben's shooting, like, obviously he didn't take threes, which is a huge red flag in terms of statistical indicators. But he was like okay from like far two, twos outside of the paint, short mid ranges. The free throw wasn't horrible, like it was solid. And if we look at players with under 4 threes per 100, even if we look at the guys with less than 1 3 per 100, like Ben Simmons, and obviously the ones who were able to hit mid range far twos as well, like there are guys who have turned into shooters. Like, obviously Cat is an outlier who we've discussed before, but you also have like Siakam has become a shooter. DeMarcus Cousins shot at some point in his career. Even if you go a little bit further down, like Bobby Portis learned how to shoot, Grant Williams learned how to shoot, Rui learned how to shoot. So all of like it's not like he was hopeless as a prospect, which of course is why he was such a good prospect when we're not kind of working with the benefit of hindsight. If Ben Simmons was anything but the worst shooter of all time, like he probably could have been like a top 5 to 7 player in the NBA based on the other tools that he had. And of course the mental and aggression and kind of like wiring stuff as well. But based on the LSU tape alone, it was a special combination of movement skills, athleticism, passing, and defensive upside. And I think that makes him right on the borderline of one of the 10 best prospects of the decade and one of the better prospects of the last 20 years or so. So that is the top 14 through 11. Top 10 coming soon, plus maybe some honorable mentions if people really want those. Let me know what you think, and let me know who you think is going to be in the top 10. Top 10's coming soon.